Hi, I'm Senator Malcolm Roberts, and I'm in the electorate of Springwood with our candidate, Glenn Cookson, and Richard Geary, who is a strong supporter and a volunteer working with Glenn and for One Nation. And we're going to have a little video here that shows you what is right with this country and what is wrong with this country and needs to be fixed, and why we need everyday people like Glenn in Parliament and why you're supporting him.
That's right.
Tell us about your family's successful furniture business, mate.
Well, Malcolm, 30 or 40 years ago now, we had 5 shops and a factory making good bedroom furniture, solid furniture made out of real timber, not the RTA stuff that you see these days.
Yep. And then the import duties were released, tariffs were let go, and we had cheap imports flooding in with pressed wood,
Exactly
inferior
right.
product.
Exactly right, Malcolm. Yeah.
And then so you eventually your family looked for other businesses to go into.
That's
and
correct.
You came up with a novel idea ahead of its time. This is the first time someone's had this.
So we're talking about 20 years ago now, Malcolm, and basically it was one of the first supermarkets at your door, basically, where people could. It was the first business of its kind to have an internet buying.
So they'd put their orders into you, and you would go and get them from the discount supermarket.
Exactly right.
And then you'd deliver it, and you'd only have a 10% markup for it.
That's correct. We based it on a 10% markup on anything that we sold, rather than the 300% you would see on toilet paper or anything like that.
And so you got swamped with business.
We did.
And then the TV stations found out about you, and they did a special on you.
They did, yes.
And then you had to go to Telstra to hook up the phones.
Yes, we did. That was the main problem.
And then they swamped, as a result of the TV publicity, you were swamped with calls and with people signing up. But they went down the street to a shop 4 doors down, right? So you never heard them.
That's correct, yes. Yep. So basically, all the phone lines that we're supposed to be putting to our warehouse so we could get those customers online went to other businesses and also a private house.
So that meant that you didn't get the customers. You then eventually took Telstra to court, and they've got big, deep pockets, and they could stall and stall and stall. They admitted their error, correct?
They did, that's
so
right.
They admitted their error, but they stalled and stalled and stalled, starved you, your family, and you capitulated, and they gave you a tiny settlement.
That's correct. I mean, we're also told that the whole process may take 17 to 18 years. So we couldn't live with that. So at the time, we had to take the settlement.
And the moral of the story is that if Coles and Woolies, well, they actually came up with your service sometime later, right?
That's correct, yeah. We come out with that first, and then not too long after that happened.
And the moral of the story is that if Coles or Woolies had that poor service from Telstra, they would have recovered. But a small business, right. It's everything. And
that's
so
right.
and so that's the first major point. The second major point is that big businesses like Telstra can afford to let small businesses wither and die on the vine.
That's
whereas
correct.
They can't do that with the... So the legal system favours people with deep pockets and big corporations.
That's true, Malcolm. Yes, exactly what's going on.
And that is why Richard is supporting Glenn, and why we have so many volunteers around the state who are coming out in their droves to support One Nation, because these people, we are in favour of giving small businesses, farmers, the everyday man and woman, everyday families, a fair go.
Exactly.